Basically, it was last year, back in May, I was doing some wedding photography in the area, and after I was finished, doing that for a day, I made it a priority to really get over to Marley and try and set up some equipment and stuff before nightfall, in hopes of trying to capture some of this stuff. And because we're all pretty much in agreement that if you have a 24 presence there, 24-hour, 24/7 days a week presence there, you're bound to get something almost every evening. And so I set up my equipment to actually image a different type of object that is prevalent there, which is known as the mystery light. And I positioned my imaging equipment to photograph and record video of this. But I was actually surprised that a different type of phenomenon, the ambers, started up. And so we were pleasantly surprised, to say the least. And so I'm going to show you this, I guess, about a 5-minute clip. And I will point out some stuff and also recap kind of the events that unfold. And so enjoy.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow, that was an awesome.
There it is.
Ronnie, turn your camera on.
There it is.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. We heard that rumble too.
Yeah. I just
Josh didn't get to see it?
No. That was incredible.
Josh, did you get to see that?
There it is.
Wow. Whoa, whoa. Wow.
And as you can tell, I was rather excited.
Whoa. Wow. I gotta call Ted, man.
I called him several times. I called Ted.
I was gonna zoom in and maybe if I can, manual focus.
That was amazing.
That was.
We heard a.
Oh,
Whoa! There they are. Wow. Get it, Josh.
I am 30 going.
Wow.
I told you there were animal reactions.
That's awesome. Wow.
I got it. I'm zooming in.
It's amazing.
And as you can hear there, they actually have several different species of birds on the property. And one of the most prevalent that you can hear in the video is a peacock. And that's one of the most interesting things, is that when these objects come on, that peacock eventually, it just erupts. And we're going to go through it just one more time to kind of give it a little recap.
Wow.
As you can hear the peacock.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
saw that.
that's one of the issues, was very low quality
Wow,
camera
that
I
was
had
awesome.
with me.
There it is.
Ronnie, turn your camera
Was
on.
shooting in the night vision mode, and
Wow.
when that happens, that dilutes the color and makes it appear to be white, but actually it was a brilliant orange, amber color. And
Yeah.
you'll see after the sequence
that
of
rumble,
video,
too.
my brother who photographed with his digital
didn't get to see it.
SLR camera and captured some phenomenal images, which really illustrate the
That was
color of the
incredible.
structures.
Josh, did you get to see that?
It's actually,
There it is.
what you're seeing there is really
Wow.
just the
Whoa, whoa.
poor quality
Wow.
of the lighting and stuff, and it's kind of giving it a grainy
Whoa.
feel that makes it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm panning it. It's actually, I put it kind of like on
I
a
gotta call Ted,
post,
man.
like of a deck, and I'm resting it there, and I pan it a little bit back and
Where-
I was
forth.
gonna zoom in and maybe if I can, manual focus.
That was amazing.
That was.
That's kind of sore issue. We really can't disclose where it's located.
Get it, Josh.
It's located in Missouri, but
Wow.
we can't really go much further than that.
Yeah.
As far as the property owners keeping
It's awesome.
with their wishes and stuff,
Wow.
having no one really know besides us.
Yeah, that's not
amazing.
our decision. It's the property owners. I guess because they wouldn't want 10,000 people going through the fences.
Exactly. No. And you'll see that in a second, because this is up in the sky. As you can see, that's yeah, exactly. The line of trees there, and this is the zoom. Just to give you a little bit more of a feel for right there, the light sequence, just the event. And let's see. Yeah, that's with decreased amount of light. And then the next one will be kind of a depiction of what the color is. But even still, it's a little diluted. But next you'll see the photographs that my brother Josh Johnson was able to get. And they're pretty phenomenal, to say the least. And you can see the trees there, and there's the object.
And the tall guy with the flashlight.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically leaving your aperture open longer than, I guess, I'm not totally really knowledgeable about that.
Yeah, those were not long exposures at all. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was not.
I put that on there. I thought they were, but
I think he was shooting 800.
yeah, that's. And here again is the still image that he was able to shoot. And you can see the object there and the tree line clearly. And there again is a close-up. And then again, the trees you can clearly see, and no tall guy holding a flashlight. And that's pretty much it. There
Thank
go.
you. Thanks, Adam.
Sure.
Okay, this is another oddity that we find there. In 1999, I was able to observe this particular thing that we call the light mass. And this one is on the ground. And it appears periodically, no particular pattern that we can see. But the wonderful thing is that when it does appear, it stays around for about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. So you have plenty of time to get cameras in operation. And in one instance, we even tried to get to it. And this is a still frame from video that I shot. And there were 3 witnesses, property owner, Tom, and I. Okay, and this is a sort of daylight shot showing its position. We've actually been able to go over into that area, and it appears the object was located 0.8 of a mile from the camera and was sitting right behind some thin trees. And behind those thin trees was a increasing in elevation field. So it had to be no more than 100 feet maximum behind those trees. So we've got the area pretty well down, and we're working on establishing pretty well the exact location. Now this, again, these are all stills from the video, and it goes through varying degrees of brightness. And this is especially interesting because there is at the center of this thing, at a specific brightness or faintness, this unusual artifact that appears. As of yet, we have no idea what that might represent, but it's visible throughout about an hour and 20 minutes of video when the brightness reduces to the point that you can see it. Now, this is a photo taken in 1999. I shot this, and the stills you were just looking at were shot on December the 12th of last year. And as you can see the very bright light source, you can see the silhouette of trees in front of it. And behind, behind the light source, you can see a sort of dome which seems to be made up of smaller sort of oval amber lights. Kind of interesting. And this is a pretty large object. Now, did we have the video for that? Okay. Show you a few clips of the video. Now, after shooting several minutes of video from this distance, the property owner and I were talking about the initial sighting in '99 of this and the fact that it stuck around for over an hour. So Tom and I thought it would be kind of interesting to try to get closer to this thing, and I'll let him explain what we tried to do. And I like to have the guys give you some of their own sightings so I don't sound like the only crazy person.
As one of the more important observations that we have made, besides the more benign small white light balls being the catalyst for the activity in the area, is that we learned a very important lesson from this object when Ted and I went in chase of this. We were in radio communication with the property owner at a good vantage point. And as we proceeded to this point and got to the location where we thought this had to be, and we knew the approximate location, we seen nothing, no artifact of this light, nothing. And while we were in radio communication with the property owner, I backed up and he seen my brake lights in proximity to this, to the light mass. And we had no knowledge that we could see no artifact of the light. So that's really, that taught us a hugely important thing, that at times these are directional. If you're standing to either side of these objects, you're not going to view them. You have to be in the proper location and vantage point to see this at times. That's not to say at other times you can see these things at huge distances. So there's things we've taken from our lessons, observations, and we all go through kind of an incubation period at Marley. When we're new there, it takes several, no one goes there first, second visit and sees anything. It's like when it deems we're worthy of this, we're through our incubation period, maybe 7, 8 trips, in my case probably 8, then you start seeing things, and it gets more frequent to the point when the people that have been out there, we can pretty well, it's why it's so important, we feel, to have a sustained presence out there, because just the random opportunities that we can make it out there, we usually come away with something. We come away with either photographs, personal experiences, which there has been many of late, and pretty dramatic ones to us. So putting in short, these things in reaction to the witnesses, they do show intelligence, and there is an intellect there. And that's one of the more dramatic things that observations that we have made at Marley.
Yeah, and tell them about the light ball that we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the vehicle. Yeah, this was an account, and this is a recreation of Ted and mine experience, and that is my trailblazer there. But virtually, you know, when the investigator becomes part of the experience, we tend to really, you know, you can't dispute that. And virtually, Ted and I were at Site 3 in an investigation, and we were leaving it at the end of a long night, and we're coming back on a private dirt road, dead-end road, you know, and you're talking in a 1,000-acre ranch, no possible way anybody else in or out of there in a vehicle, and a light comes on behind us, and just as similar, and I hate to draw the resemblance to the Close Encounters, but the light mass came on behind us, illuminated the vehicle, intense white light, and of course I asked Ted, are you seeing this? And he says, well, heck yes, I'm seeing this. Well, he was looking out the rear view mirror. I was trying to see rear view mirror turnaround. And just as the apex of the light comes up behind us, where we could see the main light mass, it snaps out. And we jump out of the vehicle, run down the road towards it, nothing. So that's one of the personal experiences that Ted, among others, that one of the more dramatic ones. And then Adam and I will go into we spent, part of the research is spending long, cold nights in deer stands. And after about 4.5 hours in 10 degrees, and anybody that hasn't been in the field and research, this is a little bit hard to understand. You're supposed to be professionals. But again, you know, 4 hours and we're just about to call it quits. And in a 7-acre field in the middle of a ravine, this light, that's an approximation of what happened. And you can see the deer stand on the edge of the field, 7-acre field. This light source illuminates, pops on, and I called Adam's attention to, and as he looked I thought he was going to look at my vantage point, which is extremely good. He looks behind me and is monitoring the light source while I'm monitoring the light beam in the field. And this thing, extreme white light, brighter than highs on a truck, shining out into a 7-acre field, going across probably 100, 150 foot into the field, illuminating the timber on the other side. And I'm wondering, you know, did Ted drive his car through the field or what's, because Ted was at another vantage point. And just no sooner than I said that, the light starts panning the field and coming across the field from, like it's on a pivot, like a spotlight, across the field, and just as it starts coming up the bank towards the deer stand, it's out. It just extinguishes. And just that quick, it's over. Now, the only thing, we did go out the next morning there, and it was very beneficial. There was a light snow. We went out, tried to get out in the location and vantage point, and we actually tried to film geographically so we knew exactly from that field of timber where the source was. We got to the exact source, approximate where it was. Of course, no tracks, no possible way, the height of this object in the timber. There's no, you know, rational explanation. And that's, did you want anything to that?
Yeah, and the embankment that separates the field and the top of the ridge is, I would say, probably, you know, the angle and the steepness there of that hill is probably 60 degrees. And for anybody to try and bring a vehicle or anything in there to get this effect is virtually impossible considering how dense the timber is there. And Ted's location from the edge of there was a couple 100 feet back, and he was in his car, and his car was turned off, headlights off the entire time. So he actually had covered that entire area between us, and that verifies exactly, what correlates well with what we saw. And we walkie-talkied to him during this event and said, Ted, so I guess it's a little cold for you, you're heading back home to go to bed? And he said, no. And that's pretty much when it was a little too late, and everything kind of just, blinked out, and we didn't get, any photographs or video. But, this is, just one of those things. It's becoming more and more common. Like Tom said, prevalence of this phenomenon occurring when we come there. It's just, and it seems to seize the opportunity to take place at your weakest moment, and it's pretty phenomenal, to say the least.
And, Adam mentioned that it reads your weakness when you least expect it is when it's going to occur. At the end of, 8 hours at night, or when you're about to call it quits, that's when you should be prepared, because that's when it'll happen. And one of the greatest observations we have made that there is intelligence behind this, and that's the only observation, it's as far as we can go with that. It seems to be some farm we've had an observation possibly of an ROV type vehicle, which, as our technologies have increased, they lowered their risk factor and went from the nuts and bolts, what Ted dealt with years ago, the structured craft, into a low risk factor using natural elements, whatever, for an ROV to gather intelligence in the area and deal with us. So, but we absolutely feel there's an interaction with all of us when we're out there. But it's like anything else. It takes work, and that's...
Thanks, guys. Thank you.